folks, Rob Dreemeyer here. Welcome to Broadway Barfly. Today we're making a Goldwyn Follies. Yeah, it's a new cocktail for me too, so stick around and we'll figure out what it's all about. If you're a theater fan who loves a great cocktail, click that subscribe button because Broadway Barfly is the channel for you. If you follow the channel, you know that we celebrate two of my favorite things here, musicals and cocktails. And while I've always known those two worlds overlap, I am constantly surprised by how many connections I continue to find. This week, I stumbled upon a cocktail called the Goldwyn Follies, which I can only assume is named after the film. Goldwyn Follies is a 1938 Hollywood movie musical made by Samuel Goldwyn. Movie musicals of the 1930s tended to be stories about show business, and they would often feature specialty or comedy acts from vaudeville billed alongside the film's principal stars. Warner Brothers had films like Footlight Parade and the Gold Diggers films, while MGM had its Broadway Melody series, where each film had the year of its release added to its title. The Goldwyn Follies was definitely a film of this genre, and while it was about show business, it was sort of a satire of the movie industry. It was about a movie mogul who hired a woman to be his Miss Humanity, and it was her job to evaluate the studio's films from sort of an everyman's perspective. The film starred a bunch of people who are mostly forgotten today. Adolphe Menjou, Andrea Leeds, and Kenny Baker played the movie mogul, Miss Humanity, and the juvenile male, respectively. Now, if any of those names mean anything to you, you are much smarter than I am. Or maybe you're just a little older than I am, because all of those names sent me to Wikipedia. Among the specialty acts featured in the film were Bobby Clark, the Ritz Brothers, and Edgar Bergen and Charlie McCarthy. Edgar Bergen is probably the best remembered of the lot because he has a daughter who's still famous today. He was Candice Bergen's father. While the film was fairly unremarkable in its day, it is historically notable for a couple of reasons. It was the first Technicolor film made by Samuel Goldwyn. It has dance sequences by George Balanchine, who just a few years later would go on to form the New York City Ballet. And it has an Academy Award-nominated score written by George and Ira Gershwin. It was the final score written by George Gershwin, who died of an undiagnosed brain tumor in 1937, just months before the film's release. The score also introduced the Gershwin standard Love Is Here to Stay, sometimes called Our Love Is Here to Stay, which is thought to be the final song that George Gershwin wrote in his short but illustrious career. Who knew? The Goldwyn Follies is a relatively new creation, at least in cocktail years. It was first published on the Liquor.com website in 2010 by a man named Allan Katz, who best I can tell is alive and well, and he is a co-founder of the New York Distilling Company. That's the distillery that gives us Dorothy Parker and Perry's Tot gins, as well as a handful of whiskeys. Now, I have no idea why he created a cocktail and named it after this relatively obscure film from 1938, but this is a small world, and rest assured, if I ever meet him, it will be the first question I ask, and I will report his answer back to you all directly. But in the meantime, I'm happy to have stumbled across it. It has reacquainted me with an otherwise forgotten film, and it gives us a great cocktail to explore here on the channel, so let's give it a try. To make our Goldwyn Follies, we need gin, cranberry juice, apple juice, black tea, and this is just tea I brewed from a tea bag, and cinnamon syrup. And I also made that. It's a simple syrup steeped with cinnamon sticks. It's a simple syrup steeped with cinnamon sticks for 6 hours. Try and say that 10 times drunk, though I'm not drunk. Anyway, we are going to start with 1.5 ounces of our gin. I want to be clear, this is not a paid promotion of any sort, but I am using Perry's Tot gin because, well, this is a cocktail created by one of their founders, so I figured we ought to give them their props. So then we need 1 ounce of our cranberry juice, 1 ounce of our apple juice, 1 ounce of our black tea, and then 1/2 ounce of our cinnamon syrup. And then we'll give this a good shake with some ice. We will strain it into our glass. And garnish with an apple slice. And just a reminder, anytime you garnish with apple or use it in any sort of presentation, you should soak them in lemon juice. Soak your pieces in lemon juice. That keeps them from turning brown. And there we have our Goldwyn Follies. Now, I've not tried this before, so I am excited to give it a taste. Let's see what we have. Oh, that's good. That doesn't taste like what I expected it to taste like. Sort of like a mulled cider of sorts. Good, fruity. The cinnamon syrup gives it some warmth. Yeah, I could totally see making this in a batch and serving it as like a punch for a Thanksgiving dinner or something. As always, thank you for spending your time with us here at Broadway Barfly. So until the next time, cheers. If you enjoyed the video, why not give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends? Feel free to leave your comments and click that subscribe button because there's a lot more Broadway Barfly to come.